not going to look at any chats. I'm not going to look at anything. I'm just going to skate because there's nobody here and it's very relaxing. Maybe I'll skate for a little while and live stream, whatever. This is going to be really different because I wasn't thinking about doing a live stream in a public place ever. So, okay. Okay. Here we go. Wait a minute, should I look at some chats? No. Well, anyway, Twitch won't let me do this. Why? I don't know. Talk to Twitch about it. For some reason, I'm preemptively stricken from ever streaming on Twitch. And this is my phone. This is my... Good morning. As I said, I would probably never do this, and this is pretty ugly too. This is me, first thing in the morning. Nobody's here. Nobody. Even the normal people. Oh, there's somebody coming. Okay. Oh well. It's warm-up time. So what I really want to do is I want to take the whole view of the rink, not just a small part, but just get a really good view of the rink and just do what I normally do for 2 to 3 hours almost every day. And I do that because I like it here. Good air quality, even though it's been rainy and damp. And it really does affect the air quality of the ice rink because the dehumidifiers have to work really hard to get all this extra dampness out of the air. And you know what? Damp does ruin the ice because frost will make it so you can't really glide. And that's one of the things you learn from an outside rink, and also when there's a lot of signs around saying no pucks, no sticks, and no balls and everything, and then they're all just like hog wild with balls, sticks, and pucks. And then you find out, what's the point anyway? The ground is all covered in frost. How's anybody gonna skate really good here? It's gonna be really a disaster. And then you walk away and find another rink. Or you try to. It's Sweden. Usually it's cold. Well, recently, not so cold, but you get used to it. You get used to it. I guess I can just... Never done before. Nobody's never, ever done a live at an ice rink before, I'm very sure, right? Nobody's ever done that, right? No, that's absolutely untrue. I'm sure lots of people have done it. They probably own their own rink. Where did I go? Oh no, I'm gone. The scuttlebutt around here, the rumor around here is we won't probably have any open hours, any almond hats opening for the autumn or the winter. But do not listen to me. You must do your own research. I'm only talking about the rumors because scheduling, and the fact is that they've got a lot of games scheduled. And they did that one Easter time is what happened was that there were a lot of games scheduled. So I had to go skate somewhere else for those times. And they couldn't play music because I don't know anybody there, and I'm not going to go and break into their music thing and go and start their music on. Because that's kind of rude, you know? I don't want to be running around here talking. But where can I put this to where it's gonna get the whole area? Because we have such a beautiful area, you know? It's so beautiful, so if I put it here, maybe there's a little bit more view. There's the view. Oh, maybe I can skate there. What do you think? But everything that I'm doing right now is basically everything that I've learned in the last 3 years. And the backwards only 2.5 years, since it took me until about January 2023 to learn how to skate backwards. But the thing is, I've been skating for a long time. I just put the skates on and I stood up and I skated and I went and I didn't fall down, and that's all I needed to know at the time. And even if I did it for hours, I didn't really have a lot of guidance and a lot of, I just skated and that was it. And then one day I got really, really serious about it. Because I love skating, even though I was only going forwards. I see that the camera like having a little bit of a problem with the lighting, and it keeps on flashing on and off with the lighting. I don't understand that. I don't want to know. It's silly. Maybe it doesn't really matter. Maybe it does. It's not giving me much. I just wanted to live stream like a little bit of skating. That's it. Because there's nobody here. It's an opportunity. Yesterday would also been an opportunity. But then there was somebody who came by and skated, and that's good. I don't have it all to myself, and I don't intend to have it all to myself. But I like it when I have it all to myself. No lies. I don't. And now I'm talking to myself. What do you know? not use the stream against me. Never. What? What's something? I see something. Oh, I don't think anybody's looking, and I hope nobody's looking. I just want it to be something that maybe happens later. Maybe just an archive. Just an archive. Just an archive. I'm not happy the given the claustrophobia. Just a little too warm. The coolest things is that I went from having absolutely no guidance into having what is the equivalent of 3 or 4 coaches. So just and people who are learning, and I'm watching them learn, and it's a learning experience all around. I really have learned a lot. Maybe I haven't learned as much as some of these girls are like going like in 2 weeks they're skating backwards, and then maybe they're onto spins and jumps by the time the month passes. But otherwise, but the one thing about ice skating, figure skating, even hockey skating is once you unlock your ability to skate backwards and feel relatively stable and practice it, you got to practice it, because if you practice it just here and there, you can suffice. But what really is required is maybe like focusing really steady on it for like an entire year, which I did not do, but I just recently started doing. I recently started like, okay, I'm just gonna go backwards for like as much as I can. Under the time where I'm alone, I can do that. I can go round and round and round and round backwards, no problems, and try to do some fancy schmancy stuff. But just do the backwards so that I stabilize it, and it's a use to learn more things, because once you go backwards and once you really nailed backwards, it's almost like achievement unlocked. You really gain a lot of different skills, since everything starts from backwards when you're doing fancy stuff. Like almost all of the jumps except for one is backwards, I was told. And that one is not it starts off with a bunny hop and turns into an axle. I don't know how it does it, but it does it, right? Oh no. And the music's gonna copyright my stream, right? And the stream gets disabled, and then we can't do anything. So I'm gonna have to change the music. It's gonna have to be lute music now. It's gonna have to be lute music, and that's not a problem, is it? Wait a minute, maybe I can find another angle here. But anyway, lute music is really good. And it's only because I had like this really weird dream, like maybe like I was back in the Middle Ages and got together a band and we were playing rock and roll with lutes. Yeah. I can see where a public skating session, if you were to stream live, like my idea was always that streaming stuff, and this was way back before streaming was a streaming thing, you know? I was thinking of like, yeah, if you have a cafe or something and you have live bands, or a laundromat and you have live bands, whatever, you know, people who are missing the performance, well, you can stream it, right? But that was an idea back in 1995. It didn't happen, of course, but it was an idea. It was an idea. And then, of course, you know, people started working together with Second Life and actually having like actual bands put together, like somebody across the world, and hopefully, if your connection's good, you can play together live with each other and be a performance, like through a venue like Second Life. That's over and done with. I'm sure there's lots of places that actually, I mean, there's lots of people doing that kind of stuff still. But I was a little tiny bit of a pioneer with the remote working with the projects, and because in I think it was 1997, 1990. There, 1998, 1997, I received information that there was a tribute album, like a tribute project from the scene. And I'm a big fan, so I wanted to participate in that. And I just added my vocal to a track from somebody overseas. And I brought the cassette tape to a 4-track studio and worked on it. And there was 2 songs on there, and one got on the tributes. So that was good. But I won't tell you about it too much because I don't want to talk too much about everything. I talk too much about everything. I need to sleep. So at least if I work on the circle stuff, on the hockey circle, if I can work on that, then, and you get the whole angle of the hockey circle, the little hockey circle there, then I can go around and round like an idiot, like I always do, when it's kind of crowded but not so crowded. Let's see. It should be like enough to where I guess you can see most of it. And I just go round and round and practice my crossover. Which I finally got at least on one side, I got a forward crossover. I'm not so sure about the backward, but you know. I don't plan on doing that, you know? Let's see, what angle? It's not really working, huh? I'm trying my best. Let's see. Is it a little bit better? No, 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 no. I gotta do something better than this. How about this one? Yeah, living streaming. Living streaming. Yeah. And as you can see, there's nobody watching the stream, and it's been going for like 22 minutes, and it might even be deleted. But if you're watching, you're watching. If you're not, then so what? I don't care. Because, well, actually, I kind of care, because if somebody's watching, it's kind of creepy. I can lean in. This is a part where nobody hears, but it's subliminal messaging. I really like some skates. and maybe a gym membership. I don't have any monetization. I don't have anything like to help facilitate the action of money just flowing to me. So I'm just gonna say it out loud. I don't want to ask money. I don't ask too much for it. But actually, I would like to ask something. Hopefully, I'm not surprised. Actually watching, and they wanted me to do a spin or something. Like, like there's little children. Sometimes I'm watching. This is like a little bit of an aquarium, and the skating rink is like an aquarium. Children are watching through the glass, and of course you want to be like the little ballerina or the little figure skater on the little jewelry box that's turning, because that's the epitome of grace. It's beautiful. The acrobats, the ballerina, the figure skater, and I don't think those things need to change. I think it's an ideal for a reason, and it's kind of crazy that there's people trying to emulate the ideal of a female doing those things and still get it so terribly wrong. Here's where I get canceled. But to be all honest and fair and everything about when I saw that the Finnish man who, well, he's transitioned into a woman, and he, see, I don't want to do all that, but they fell down, and they were presented in like some sort of fanfare, and they fell down and they could hardly get up. And well, when it was announced, it was like, before I even saw that, I was thinking, oh great, you know what? We're gonna get that female quad axle we were waiting for. It's not Tanya Harding, it's not Ayita Midori. Oh god, Ayita Midori. So beautiful, so sweet. And I don't want us to lose our user room. I don't want him to dress up like a girl and jump up in the air. Oh, there's your quad. No, but I was thinking, there you go. You can get that quad out of the transitioned one. But considering this, those surgeries are very, very, very difficult, and also they never gain back their ability to do sports, it seems. And it's constant pain, and it's terrible. There's a reason we do things the way we do things. Things are not optional. Having a head on your head isn't optional. You can't. I decided I want to transition into a headless zombie. Anatomy is just one of those things. And here I get canceled. I know I'm going to get canceled for saying that because I'm just babbling. I don't identify as an armless person, so I don't want to take. And there was a whole series I just saw where people actually identify as amputees and then go on to attempt to cut their arms and legs. And it's kind of scary because here's going to get another name going to get me canceled. Stefan Molyneux says, before the internet, there'd be people who look at the toaster and go, ooh, what a sexy toaster. And then after the internet, they'll find a whole group that will find toasters really sexy. Now, I don't have anything against people. Maybe a lot of people are getting a lot of their impulses confused. That's all. People are definitely moved by the things that they find beautiful. And beauty is a weapon, and beauty is a drug. Beauty is, and when people find things beautiful, the normal direction would be saying, oh, I find that thing beautiful. On the other hand, there are other impulses, and it doesn't necessarily match up with your biology, if you know what I mean. So toasters don't match up with your biology, sorry. And in fact, toasters didn't exist until like maybe last 100 years, so think about that. On a better note, we got this really nice looking Smeg toaster. So awesome. I think my husband had something else in mind. I don't know. It's a nice looking toaster. It is so awesome. I don't eat toast though that much. I don't see the justification of buying a toaster because I personally don't eat enough toast to justify it. If I need a piece of toasted bread, I'll grill it on the. I've always been like that. If I needed a piece of toasted bread, I'll grill it on the pan. Who needs a toasted piece of bread? You can grill it on the pan. It's just as good enough. Right? But no, my son and my husband love that toaster. Oh, they love that toaster. It's got a capacity for 4 pieces of bread. Ooh, awesome. And it looks nice too. It's cream colored. It's got that beautiful smeg enamel surface. It's really nice. But here I am. I'm talking about toasters instead of skating. I'm talking about beautiful, aesthetically pleasing toasters. But the thing is, things can be beautiful and aesthetically pleasing. But I'm going to tell you a a terrible truth. It doesn't mean that it's something you're going to get sexual gratification from. And that's why this stream is not for children. All children should not be watching this stream. The toaster's beautiful, man. There's something that's not aesthetically pleasing. Okay, there's something aesthetically pleasing about figure skates. I used to think that some of the brands, especially when they came out, like these do, like the really wideness and the width and the laces are really, and instead of that really narrow thing that I grew up with seeing. And I used to think, oh, those are so ridiculous looking. Now I'm kind of like, oh, those are kind of cute. We change our minds. Technology. The blades are so cute too. Oh my god. The blades are just so cute. You know what I mean? That's why, you got people who like cars. Cars are cute. From back in the 1950s when they tried to make a really, really nice like when you finally get your Corvette and your old Volvo at Amazon, those cars, I'm gonna have to say it, those cars are radically sexy. Your Corvette, your racing cars and those things, radically sexy. You use that and you get bacon. And maybe you find a woman and maybe you have a man. That's what you just like your car and you like to go for a drive. Nobody knows. Somebody knows. But those people study that stuff. And you know what they don't do? They probably don't go figure skating. I don't study that stuff. Even though I'm an artist. Yeah, that's right. Well, I'm not supposed to talk about that either. For I am technically not an artist and I have artist supplies and sometimes I pick it up and use it. Sometimes I'm a gamer. Sometimes today, maybe even for the whole last 3 years, I'm a figure skater in some way, like aspiring to be a figure skater. I don't even consider myself as a professional. Some people say no different. I don't think so. But I will say this. I used to be a really good musician. Good enough to play concerts and stuff. So there's that. I wouldn't consider myself a particularly good singer, but I'm a really good front person. And if my voice wasn't so, I one of the singing teachers said, there's something about like Frank Sinatra. He wasn't particularly a good singer, but the way he did it. And she said, well, Frank Sinatra, if you whittled it down, it was everything. It was persona, it was the vibe he brought. It wasn't his voice in particular. And I would have to say, yeah, I kind of agree. There might be something. I wouldn't consider myself a particularly good singer, especially now, especially when I'm singing along to something and I get a chorus of "shut up," you know? Shut up! Just like right now. There's nobody here to tell me to shut up, but maybe there should be. The best way to know your limits is to have people tell you to shut up. Why would that irritate somebody? There's lots of things that irritate people. There's no lie. Things that irritate people. But it's kind of interesting if you babble on. But then you get to like a core of a truth, and that's when you get the sore spot and somebody says, just shut up. And you don't realize you hit on some nerve or something. There's no reason. You say, oh no, that doesn't hit a nerve because I already know. But other things, And I'm not trying to be somebody or not. I'm trying to become the person that I am, potentially. Because ever since somebody had presented the idea with me, and they had presented the idea, and the idea was, we are not something, like, we are not becoming something. We already are something, and we're just trying to find it. So the becoming is more not an additive process, but a subtractive process, just like a sculpture. Like when Michelangelo saw the inside, he'd take a look at the stone, see the clump of marble, and see what he sees within. He sees something trying to get out of it. And he has to take away. Now, some things can be an additive, but the becoming, well, isn't that like diamond cutting? Well, first off, you have to know what you're working with, right? What are you working with? And then you take a look at what you're working with, because you have to separate the gem from the matrix. Know what you got. The same thing with an emerald. Even though you're going to have many, you're not going to always find with an emerald, you're not going to find them very large or very flawless. The diamond's a little bit different. If you find a stone and it's accidentally a diamond, that's one thing. But usually it's inside of a bunch of boards. So sometimes even, I used to really love this picture that I used to see in encyclopedia. Diamond, the crystal diamond, and then it was in a matrix of this darker stone with quartz and iron pyrite together. And I thought that was like the most beautiful thing. I'm not a fan of diamonds, but there's a reason why diamonds are very precious to many people. They make really good drills. So, the person, not every stone is going to find it. You're not going to find this diamond in every stone. Just like you're not going to find anything all the time in everything, but there's something. There's always something in there. And when you peel back the layers, you find the core of it. I think that's why the military does the depersonalization process to get people. They want to see what you're made out of. Now, I don't know how you can do that without doing some damage. I'm not very sure. But usually, like the depersonalization process, I think should be just like it should be a willing participant kind of thing, not a I have to. Like that's where people have anxiety, and we go off the rails maybe because depersonalization leads to poor outcomes if you're in the wrong situation. Here I am. I've seemed to turn up the ice aware. I've torn up the ice, so gotta keep going. Say, hey, it's beautiful. Is it beautiful? Of course it is. So, anyway, when the military takes in a person, they strip them of the characters. They want to find a core of somebody to make, like they strip them down, their personality, and build them back up again from what they are. There's lots of situations that do that kind of process. They're spiritual situations, not just educational situations. Why kids in college are so vulnerable? Because usually they're very young. I didn't go to college very young, exactly. I was a lot older going to a bigger place. I remember feeling that one thing, that one trepidation at the time, where I was in a situation and I felt like I was so small and the world was so much bigger than myself. And especially since it's like an ego death, they say, when you feel that panic attack where you feel so small and the whole world is so much bigger. And it just happened to be going through the museum that was part of the school. And right in front of me was a gigantic Buddha that was rescued from Afghanistan. And it was so much bigger than me. But it was also like I was awestruck. But I felt like my heart, I felt like a And I wasn't in the scene for a couple of days. But because I felt that. I felt that really weird situation, this, 26. And I finally go to a very big place in New York City. I've been living on my own for so much as a young person. But this was like one of the first times, when you get that of ego deaths. And a lot of things a lot of practices that people go through are about ego death. But they don't call it that. Like when you go to the military and they kind of strip you down to your basic functions. Your individuality is kind of put on hold. Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to find the foundation of who you are and build on that. If they're being kind. If they're not being kind, you're just another number. And I want to make sure if you're going to be another number, at least you're going to be a number that fits in. Right? But people don't always willingly have those things. And I think in military and prisons and whatever, that's something that people go through. Especially when in isolation too. The group is isolated in a situation where since I'd been living on my own quite a while and didn't live with anybody when I had that little experience of I think about 3 months in Chicago, in this new city, and I finally, try to navigate myself past new situations and get to know people, new situations, new places, new things, new routines, new living spaces, new city. Then, then later on, reorient myself in another couple of years to a new country, a new language, new geography, new weather, new everything. Now, there's a lot of benefit to those things. As I said, some people don't go through those things willingly. On the road to becoming what you already are, finding your talent and finding your aptitude is apparently the thing. This is the problem. In my case, I'm really old, and I didn't see myself ever as athletic or enduring. And then one day I made a mistake a couple of weeks ago. Before the world entirely changed. We'll not talk about that either. But it was September 9th or 10th on the border. It was September 9th or we'll not talk about it. And I had to go pick up a package. So I decided, this time I made a mistake. I'm going to go all the way to the other town, and it's about a 7 kilometers there and 7 kilometers back. But what I didn't have planned was that I didn't plan on going the way that I'm used to, because I took Google Maps as actually something you can listen to. No, you can't. Not on the bicycle path. These bicycle paths don't. No. Any advice? No Google Maps. And now Google is going to shut this down, since Google is the owner of the. See the paranoia? See, I'm absolutely paranoid. Discovering that I actually have some endurance in me at this age is kind of wild. So, okay. I got lost on the way there, so that was an extra. Instead of about like 40 minutes, it took me about an hour and 15 minutes. But I got there because I had to just totally deviate from the Google's directions, take the road that I knew would possibly get me there, and just follow the signs to the center, right? And so what I did, when I got back, I'm thinking, okay, I'll just follow the way I know. But instead, I had accidentally a turn on the roundabout. And one of these roundabouts goes this way, right? The roundabout took me to a road that passed a horse place, and passed a whole bunch of things, and then it was finally out in the middle of nowhere, right? And then, when it was in the middle of nowhere, I was thinking, okay, there has to be an intersecting road, right? You gotta have an intersecting road. I figured I already spent enough time going up and down the highways, and it was really severe. And it was really hot and sweaty, but I already gone through all the highways, and I had been, okay, that's like about 6 kilometers out of my way. Until I just look at the map, but there is no intersecting road until maybe another city far north. That's not gonna work. So I had to turn my butt around and then get back later than I wanted to, but I had done like about um, what was it, about 35, I don't remember if it 27, 30 kilometers, something like that. And I didn't feel all that bad about it, but it was annoying. You know, I didn't feel, and in fact, what it did was I got a better score like a couple of days later on my readiness score and fitness and everything. So, so then I decided about a week and a half later, I'm gonna go sharpen my skates and I'm gonna go to the city, right? So I go to the city to sharpen my skates. I pack them in my backpack because it's really hard to actually pack my skate. I gotta get a backpack for skates. So I'm skating, and I'm riding bicycle. I take some wrong turns because, you know, Google Maps, but I have a familiarity with the area that I'm going to. So I figured that wasn't so bad. But coming back was once again like I thought, okay, I have this, right? So when I come back, so this is the problem. When I come back, there was like this area, and it got really, really like, well, first off, there was some construction, so it was blocked off. Now, if I'd gone the way that I didn't want to go, I would have probably gotten there faster. But then I went to the place that I actually accidentally kept on going to that area and ended up in the same shopping center that I had, which completely bypassed my town. So I was hot and sweaty, and I just stopped and I took a pause. I was thinking, okay, I really need to drink something. I just did about 49 kilometers, and I was only expecting to do 32, 35 at most. Uh-oh, I've run out of data. So anyway, yeah, I did 35 at most, and this is what happened. I did 57 kilometers by the time I got back because after I ended up in familiar territory, and it was starting to get really dark, and I got home, but I didn't feel anything bad for it. The only thing that was bad was my sleeping heart rate was elevated, and everything else was okay. And then when I woke up the next day, I went skating for 3 hours. Ta-da! So I'm becoming something. It's about my potential, you see. And because my data ran out, I have to stop. Have a nice day, and maybe this doesn't get posted, okay? How do I stop? I don't know. Anyway,